I'm good. How are you guys? All right. Well, here we go. Hey, week 12, game 12, week 15 of this whole bad boy, right? So I'll open it up to questions because I'm sure there's some questions coming off last week and some questions going into kind of the finale here, and kind of where we are as a program, where we are, this stage, and expectations.
Biggest takeaway that you got after you had a chance to look at the film from Saturday?
Yeah, there's a lot more positives on the film than I anticipated. And I speak by that looking at the whole picture of the game. I think their tempo got us a few times, which led to a couple of those explosives. And when we handled the tempo the way I know we're capable of, it was a much different look by our defense. And I think if we were able to manage that, and then if we convert that fourth down, keep that drive going. At that point, they had not stopped us and had not found an answer. They're just momentum plays, and at this where we are, and I think we're tired legs. We're a young program. We didn't handle that moment ready to rally back, and I did say that, right? We didn't punch back Saturday, but when I watch film, there's a lot more good on that film than what we anticipated. And I think that's a great thing for us is, we look ahead to this week because we're going to see a very similar challenge, right? And we look ahead to our future, right? Because one thing I said in here Saturday, and I said to our players, North Texas is an example, right? And they're a program that was searching for that sixth win each of their last 2 years in their last week of their season to get to be bowl eligible. And here they are now sitting at the doorstep of the college football playoffs. And, I think for a first-year program like us, you can look at that and say, okay, this is possible. Let's stay the course. And to Coach Morris's credit and to his staff, they've stayed the course in what their beliefs were, their approach, and now it's paying off for them in year 3 here for them. And so when I look at that, and I think we got a handful of teams at the top that are really special teams in our league right now, and they're one of them. And I think you're measuring yourself against those guys, and I'm so excited to see some of the positives that we're able to execute against such an elite program, knowing that we got to close the gap now, right? We got to execute it more frequently. We've got to close the gap in a lot of areas, but I find myself excited for what the future is going to look like for us.
And then you talked similar challenge this weekend against South Florida. Obviously, can score some points, but what about their offense in particular is the most interesting?
Well, I think probably the difference, they're gonna tempo us as well. That's no secret. They tempo everybody. Take a lot of pride in that, and they do it really well, and they're coached well. I do think one of the differences will be, they have one of the best players in the country at quarterback. And what makes him so dangerous and who he is his ability to hurt you with his legs and his arm. Okay, that's different from last week. Last week, very, very comfortable just staying in the pocket and getting rid of it quick, and no really quarterback run game. This week, it'll be more quarterback run game. And the passing game's probably not as diverse, right? Not quite as exotic, because of the quarterback run game with that. And to me, that's a key, right? We need to make them one-handed on that side of the football. And so to do that, you got to control the line of scrimmage, and you have to tackle him well, which is a really big challenge, but that's our challenge.
Yeah, Coach, that was my question to you about Brown, what he does versus Mestonmaker. But most importantly, what can you do this week to sort of offset what you saw and learned last week against North Texas versus South Florida?
Well, I think the first thing, I'll start on defense, right? That, we had a game plan for the tempo, and we didn't execute it very well, right? And when we did, it fit. So, that gave us a look at it. It's like North Texas defending Navy before they play us. They get a look at a team that runs a similar offense. Well, now we just got to look at defending an up-tempo, spread, wide-open team. What can we take away from that? And that's the key. Will we take that? Will we learn from that and grow from that? So as a staff, certainly that's the first thing we have to do. Now we have to apply that, teach our players, and then execute that heading into Saturday for our game plan. And then, offensively, I think it's, this is a different challenge, right? I think the exciting part for us is I think every week we've grown. Every week we show the ability for this offense to grow and take the next step. And I thought we took some big steps Saturday. I think we were right on the cuff of us probably, really going score for score with them for a while there, and I think we stopped ourselves, meaning I think, we're still learning how to handle the ebb and flow of the game. And offensively, I'll speak on that because I think both sides handle things differently. Offensively, we send, when the roller coaster goes downhill and we don't, a drive stalls, right? We let that impact us, right, mentally more than it should. And that's when I say I think we held ourselves back offensively Saturday. And the key is not to do that this week, right? And then the key is we need to make them defend all parts of the offense. Now these last 2 weeks, you've seen us get to the perimeter with our option game. That we've gotten the inside game going for quite some time. So last week you saw a little bit of everything, right? You saw, a quarterback run game get out. You saw, Aaron in our slot game, how that's built. And you've seen our inside run game and some of the explosive pass. We didn't hit on many of the explosive pass last week. We're 14 for 21 throwing the football for just over 100 yards. So, we're put in the air 20 sometimes. And now we need to figure out how can we make more explosive plays. We need to hit on a couple of those shot plays, and we missed on some of those. That's what keeps that game from maybe us matching a score for score, right? Let's handle that dip. At some point, you're going to get forced to punt. So, that's the first time we've come out in the game and been, pretty dynamic from the get-go offensively in that whole first quarter. Then all of a sudden we get stopped, and I thought it took us about a half a quarter to a quarter to wake up again from that. Like, oh, we got stopped. Like, well, that's going to happen. Defenses are going to force us to punt, and defensively, same thing needs to now we could apply there. Like, we stopped them early, but once they got it going, we had a hard time right now kind of reestablishing ourselves. And we all have to learn that we're capable of that, and so some of that is putting yourself in that situation more often than not. So you learn from these. And I think that's what year one's about. And we've played an incredible schedule. Like, we don't go into this game intimidated. We don't go into this game going, man, it's just, to me, we're playing another top 25 caliber program, right? I can list them all, right? Where we can start Louisiana, beginning of the year was being touted as a top 30 program, to UConn, right, to Memphis, to North Texas, right? And now, here we go, South Florida. So we've been battle tested, and I'm excited now to see, here we are, game 12, playing for the opportunity to go to a bowl game, and what we've learned from all those tests throughout the year.
Yeah, you almost answered my question. I was going to ask you, you've seen just about every kind of team you could possibly see this season. Can you put it all together this Saturday against South Florida?
Well, see, and I think you make a great point. You kind of take the words out of my mouth, right? Putting it all together, right? Man, what an opportunity for us. Okay, because I think if we can do that, and we're better in a lot of areas than we were week one. We've grown so much, but then there's some areas because of injuries or season-ending stuff that we're still trying to search for answers for. But if we can put it all together, man, what an exciting Saturday. We want to make them uncomfortable. We want to get them in the fourth quarter. And that opportunity is there if we can now establish ourselves, play 4 really good quarters of football in all phases. And that's what it's going to take. And we've seen all phases be really good this year. It'd be nice, and it'll be imperative for all of our 3 phases to be in sync, play quality football at the same time Saturday in South Florida.
And specifically, what more do you need from your quarterback, Chase Jenkins, this coming week, last game of the season?
Yeah, Chase is continuing to grow inside the offense. And I think for him, we put more and more on him as the season's gone on. And how he handles that each week, I think is important to the offense's success, whether it's the ability to check and get us out of some things or the ability to make some explosive passes. And I think the thing that I leave last game knowing is, man, his growth is enormous. And anybody that's watched this all year would have to agree with me, or you're not paying attention. And the next area of growth is now helping him understand he doesn't have to do everything. And, I think for quarterbacks, right, when they begin to really understand the system, now they get this freedom, like, this is where I can make plays. This is where the opportunity comes. And, he's got to be careful not to get caught up that I have to do everything, because he doesn't. He has some really good players around him, and the system is built to take what a defense gives you. And so I think for him, now that's the next step of growth, because we do have so much more offense in. And the more you get in, the more you rely on now the system taking what the defense gives you. And now who's ever orchestrating that, which is your quarterback, your point guard, has to allow that to happen. And, Saturday, I thought he did a really good job at that. There was times, especially, as we got behind there in the second quarter or early third, like, he wants to make plays, and as everybody does, and you just can't try to do too much. It's all in the right frame of mind. He's trying to put the team, the offense on his back. And, we want to remind him each and every day that he doesn't have to do that. We have good players around him, and continue to learn, make the decisions within the offense that allows the offense to take what the defense gives them. I don't know if that answers your question, but that's a pretty detailed response, right? But I'm excited about Saturday. Our guys have worked hard, and anytime you have an opportunity to take on a program that's gotten so much press this year, right, and deservedly so, about their accomplishments and what they're capable of, and we have an opportunity to go put really a stamp on our season that said, okay, hey, we know how much we've grown this year, and that's what I'm looking for. When we're done Saturday, right? I want to be able to tell our players, hey, that's the example of how much we've grown, where we started from, and where we've gone to. So I'm looking forward for that opportunity.
JP, any questions?
Coach, their version of the spread kind of moves the defense more to the sideline, I guess, like Bryles kind of initiated. Can you speak to how it might be a little different for North Texas and how you try to game plan against it?
Well, the big difference is the quarterback influence in the run game, and they're not as diverse in their passing game. They're not quite as diverse in their sets, but man, they go fast, and they got all the right weapons they need to be an incredible spread team to hurt you with their run in the pass. And so for us, we really need to make them one-handed. Right, we got to control the run game. We have to control the line of scrimmage. We have to find a way to make him uncomfortable, and man, that's a challenge, right? And so, how can we force some turnovers? Right, we've been talking about that for a couple of weeks, and we need to do that. We need to create some breaks, and just like on offense, when I talk about, we need to create a few more explosive plays. We need to hit a couple of those shot plays, and I think those are a couple of big keys to Saturday night. Thank you. Go Owls.
How you guys doing?
All right, we'll start with the South Florida defense. When you looked at film this week, what kind of jumps out?
Everything jumps out. They're flying to the ball. They're playing for each other. And they're playing with a lot of pride in there. They're still trying to fight for a conference championship. So you see the effort out there. It jumps out. The front seven is good. DBs can run. They can tackle as well. So I think for us, it's just going out there like every week, matching their intensity, matching their physicality. But but they're a good team. You know, they're still fighting for a conference championship and even the college football playoff. So we know we're going to get their best effort. So we got to go out there and just play our game, you know, like we did last week. But we got to take the punches and we got to throw punches back. And me as a leader, I feel like I have to step up, you know, when we're going through the roller coasters, rally the troops. And I know I felt like I did a bad job of that last week. So, you know, learning from that, learning through all the roller coasters we have, being a better leader, you know, making sure the troops are ready to go.
And then what's it going to take? Because y'all had spurts where everything works just like you want it to. What's it going to take to make that a 4-quarter effort?
I think not losing confidence. I mean, I think sometimes, like Coach Abell said, when we go through our little roller coaster, we kind of lose confidence and kind of get in our head too much. And now for this week is just going out there playing confidence. It's playoff football right now. It's either win or go home in our eyes. So, you know, we got to give everything we got. You know, we got to take punches, we got to throw punches. So this week we got to do a little both, and then you know, just handle the up and downs of the football game. And, you know, we'll be perfectly fine.
Kind of a similar question that I asked Coach, putting it all together. This is your last game of the season, and everything that you've learned while in this offense. Talk about that and what this last game means to you.
I think if you looked at our growth around the offense this year, you can see the growth that we have and the confidence we have running this offense. You know, if you look at the first 2 drives of UNT, that was probably most confidence we ever looked all year. And I think we were just playing for each other and playing confidently. I don't think anybody was thinking those first 2 drives. We were just going out there and having fun. And this last game, it means a lot. You know, I've been to 2 bowl games, and those bowls experience are one of the best experiences you can have. And how I'm looking at it, this is the last time this 2025 team will be together. You know, I don't want to end it on a bad note with a bad taste in our mouth. And, you know, just thinking about all the memories we had in the locker room and all the memories we had in the offseason this year and, you know, the trials and tribulations we've been through, you know, I don't want to end it in a bad way. So I'm really just going out there playing for all the seniors, you know, all the people that's last year eligibility, all the people that transferred in that made this brotherhood even better than what it was. So I'm just going out there playing for them. You know, we still got one more game. It's playoff time, and I don't want to end it on a bad note. I want to end it on a high note and, you know, making a bowl game, and having a chance to have a winning season the first time in a long time. So, but for that to happen, we got to take it one play at a time, and it starts with practice today. Getting everything right, you know, not going through the motions, having a good day of practice. So I think this last game means a lot. So, you know, it's going to take everybody effort, everyone on 5.
That's going to lean into the last question I want to ask you. Chase, as your quarterback and all your teammates around you, this is it. How you guys, what's the mindset of the team, you and your guys, going into the game?
I think we have a great mindset. I don't think we're pressing at all. I think we're just trying to go out there and have fun. I think we understand how big this game is, but we're not going to let it get to our head. You know, we just got to go out there and do our 1 of 11. If we do our 1 of 11, I think we'll be perfectly fine.
And then you kind of talked about that every week it could be somebody else's day or somebody different phase in the offense. Aaron Turner was the guy who had the big day on Saturday. How exciting does that get you to see another phase of the offense that, okay, we got this to click? Like
I mentioned in almost every interview, it gives us a chance to showcase everybody's talent. And AT had a heck of a game. And, you know, you've seen all talents. He can catch the ball, he can run the ball, he can block very well. I think he did a good job with his leadership, you know, trying to keep the troops rallied and everything like that. But I'm just proud of AT. AT had a great game. You know, it's been a long time coming. He's been working his tail off, and couldn't be more happier for AT. You know, AT is one of my brothers on this team, and he's a heck of a player. He's definitely gonna be playing on Sundays. But just like this offense, anybody can pop off any given day. That's the most thing exciting about this offense, that you really can't tailor to one player. And you know, this week was AT, so it's just who's going to make that next play. That's what we kind of say in the running back. Who's going to make that next play? You know, I think everybody on this team is willing to and ready to make that next play.
JP?
Thank you, Jack. Coach has been telling y'all the whole season about starting well, and you really started well against North Texas. What was the key to have that early spark, and how do you try to take that over to Saturday?
I think we were just relaxed out there on Saturday and having fun. I don't think we were worried about what could have happened or what we were trying to do. I think we were just going out there playing fast and physical. And, you know, we started off slow the other games and we finished off fast. So now this game is how can we put both together and play complementary football? You know, starting off fast and not letting the roller coaster dictate how the game is going to go. You know, we might get stopped on one drive, but how can we come back the next drive and put points on the board? And how can we continue to have that success? So I'm looking forward to it. I think this week is going to be a good week of practice, and then we have the mindset going into the game where it needs to be. And USF is a good football team, so we have to be prepared on all three phases. So I think this week we got to be really prepared in all three phases. But I think if we do that, I think we'll be having a good game coming Saturday. All right, thank you.
How you doing?
Good. Kind of talk through a little bit on last Saturday. Seemed like it was a struggle to get pressure on their quarterback. How much of that was them executing at a high level, and what can y'all change this week?
I feel like a lot of their game plan was them knowing that we had some rushers up front that could honestly hinder the quarterback and get there. So I feel like part of their game plan was to get it out quick and honestly not even give us too much of a chance to affect the game. And honestly, it's something I would expect, and we can keep expecting that for this next coming weeks. We just have to find a way around it.
Tony, this is probably a game where you're going to have a chance to get at the quarterback because he likes to run the ball. So can you kind of talk about your game plan heading into the game, or your thoughts about their quarterback, Brown?
Yeah, we like to start the week off by looking at some of his pocket, his reps in the pocket, and a large amount of them reps were him scrambling. He's really able to use his legs really well. So we just want to focus on containing the quarterback, crushing the pocket, and just making them throws difficult for him because we know he's a dual threat, and we want to make sure that he doesn't affect the game with his legs.
Talk about this is the last regular season game of the year. Talk about that and the feelings going into that.
I'm really still taking it all in. I know that this week my coaches are expecting a lot from me, and I know it's going to be I'm gonna make it a interesting practice. I feel like I just want to make sure that we go out right. Like Q said, it's win or go home. So coach can expect a lot of focus and a lot of intensity in practice this last week of the regular season.
And then what does it mean to you as a guy, this is your first season here. You bought into a vision when you signed up to have the possibility to be playing for a bowl game final week of the regular season.
Ask the question again.
So what does it mean to you that, you bought into a vision when you committed to play here?
Okay.
What does it mean that now you're at the end of the regular season and you could be getting to a bowl that year?
It just means a lot, honestly. And now that he's here, I'd like to thank him again for recruiting me and allowing me to be part of this mission. It's just having someone believe in you and wanting you to help them achieve great things is just a different type of it just instills a different type of passion inside of you. And so I feel like that's another thing that we have that a lot of people don't, is passion. Our passion makes it able for us to do a lot of things on the field. And as long as we have that, we're going to be fighting for a win this Saturday.
JP? Tony, can you talk about Coach Warren? I know answer it how you want, but coming with him in a sense from SFA and just what he's done for that defensive line group that suffered injuries.
What he has done for our D-line group?
Yeah, it just you as a guy in your position, because didn't want to assume too much, but with you playing at SFA, I'm sure that meant a lot coming here and playing for him.
Yes, sir. Him moving to SFA, I realized it was more of a business choice. And I would make the decision again to come with him and play for him and just have him coach me. He's just a great coach in my eyes. He goes about things the right way. And honestly, he's a spark for this defense whenever we need it. So, yeah.
What's it like going in the temp from I know you play a bunch of different positions, but against the tempo, what's a big key now that you've gone against North Texas and USF? What's a key for the tempo management?
Now we've gotten, I like to say we've gotten a pretty good taste of it. A big key would just be us getting the call, getting lined up. That's one of the main things, getting lined up. The rest is just football, honestly. Once you're lined up, it's easy to, do your job and all that. But when you're not prepared for the play, you're basically giving stuff to the offense. So that's another huge coaching point we want to focus on this week, is not giving anything free to the offense this Saturday.
Thank you, sir. All right. We'll see everybody either in person or on Zoom after on Saturday.